Hi there, today on Lydia's Books I want to talk about some of the books I've picked up recently and why I may not buy books until October. I have all those backwards books. My co-host on Dead Air Podcast, Wes, keeps pointing out that I have these backwards books, and I think the big problem is often, because the backwards bookshelf are things that I hadn't gotten to, they turn out to be things that I DNF. And I don't know if this happens to everybody, but once you have a DNF, you kind of lose your pace, or I do anyway, with reading. And I should just pick something up right away, but I often, when I've decided, you know what, I'm having a hard time getting through this book, it's not always that it's not for me or I don't like it, it's that it's not grabbing me. I'm not compelled to read all the time. So I kind of lose my spark. And what I need to do is pick up something that excites me very, very, very much. And I think some of these books will do that trick. I've also got that really amazing Buffalo Hunter to get to, so maybe that'll be next. But yes, suffice it to say, I'll have to pick something off my backwards bookshelf because I really want to read all those. Luckily, the next book on my backwards bookshelf is very little, so I can get through this. Samantha Kolesnik's Lonesome Haunts. I really liked reading Waif, even though it wasn't 100% for me, and I liked the beginning more than the end. First half better than the second half. I got through it quick and I really enjoyed reading it, and it spurred me on to reading more amazing things. So yeah, Samantha Kolesnik is a very interesting writer who I hope to see more from soon. From what I understand, there's more to come, which is really good. So yeah, excited to get to this. Now, before I get to this big stack, I did pick up a really fun little Edward Lee book, Ouija Slumber Party. I already read this. I really enjoyed it. It was really quick and little. I thought Edward Lee was not putting anything else out, so I was very excited to see this little tiny novella up, and it is being made into a movie, so very excited to watch that. I've also got another splatterpunk zine inspired read, quite directly at that. This is edited by Jack Bantry, Past Indiscretions, the very best of splatterpunk zine. If you, like me, love splatterpunk zine, but if you, unlike me, can't come across all of the back issues, you could pick this up and get a pretty good flavor of what was in some of the early issues of the zine. I have a second part of my series coming up soon where I'm going to read through issue 2 of Splatterpunk Zine and talk about the stories and the art within. So yeah, stay tuned for that if you're a Splatterpunk fan. I have some issues of Rue Morgue to catch up on. Sorry for the glare there, but yeah, I love Rue Morgue. I mention it in a lot of my wrap-up videos, and I mentioned it not too long ago. If you're looking for places to get really good book reviews for horror, look no further than Rue Morgue magazine. Quite honestly, like this one right here, there's a whole spread on Summer Slasher by E.L. Chen, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't read that yet, and I haven't watched Obsession, which is the cover story for the other issue. In the summertime, we have to have an air conditioner on in the living room, which is loud, and it's very hot right now, as I'm sure you know, and we can't really turn it off to watch a film, especially a film like Undertone that we haven't got to yet. I was just talking to my friend Amy Vosper about this morning, where watching films in the summer that you want to pay attention to, like you wouldn't want to watch something like The Lighthouse right now or I couldn't, because you need to be able to hear what's going on. The audio story is as important as the visual one. We could watch a popcorn film or a film like Faces of Death, which we watched last night, not the old version, but the 2026 kind of meta take on Faces of Death. Really fun movie, but it was kind of a popcorny movie. We could watch it with subtitles if we wanted to. We just turn the volume up because you don't need to have such an audio experience with a film like that. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't an immersive thing where I fear some of the really cool movies coming out are. You might just say, gee, Lydia, there's a place where you can go and watch films that is air conditioned and the audio is balanced for your viewing pleasure. It's called the theater. Yeah, I know. I'm not a big fan of theaters, not only because I find them sometimes too cold and I have problems regulating my temperature, but people have been deliberately ruining the experience of films. Like, we could go and try and seek out a quiet film, but might as well just wait and watch it in the comfort of our own home where we can control a lot of those things. And so what if we need to wait a little tiny bit? Man, it's hot in here. So on to the bookie books. We have gone out a couple times to the library book sale and used bookstores reread used books, which I'll be bringing some of my own books because they have a really robust local author section and quite a lot of local author horror. So I'm very happy to be included in that mix. But yeah, some of my favorite used bookstores I won't be going to for a little bit. And here's why. I already have a whole bunch of books. I have a lot of books. I'm also saving up for October when there are many more opportunities to buy really cool horror books, and I'd like to have quite a bit of money set aside for that big haul. Not that I buy hundreds of books, and not that I'm going to spend thousands of dollars, but in between times, why buy books that are just going to add to my backwards bookshelf problem when I can probably sort that out quite a bit? I think I could read at least a third of those before October. I'm pretty sure, if I tried hard enough and believed myself and stopped buying books, because everywhere I go, there are amazing deals like this on really cool books, whether they be obscure or new, books I wanted to get to, books that I should have got to, that sort of thing. I'd like to just sort of avoid it for a little tiny bit because I do have the horror sickness, as it were. I have the collector's problem. I do like to buy books. I'm still going to attend the library book sale because it's very, very inexpensive and it's very rare that I find something that I like there. And I'll probably go to, there's a little bookstore near Watson's Mill that I'd spoke about previously that have a very eclectic mix. So maybe I'll buy a new Nancy Drew or something, a new old in Nancy Drew or something. But yeah, nothing like this. At the reread used books, there's always a really good mix. So I picked up Michael Wehunt's October Film Haunt, which I kept meaning to get to. I was offered an arc of this, an e-arc, when I had too many other e-arcs on the go, so I didn't quite get to it and I missed the window of reading. So here we are. I finally picked it up. Very excited to get to this because it sounds like it's exactly right up my alley. 10 years ago, Jory Stroud was a rising star in the October Film Haunt, a trio of horror enthusiasts who camped out at filming locations of their favorite scary movies, sharing their love of horror through their popular blog. But after a night in the graveyard from Proof of Demons, perhaps the most chilling cult film ever made, directed by the enigmatic Elaine Enriquez, everything unraveled. Now Jory has built an isolated life with her youngest son in Vermont. In the devastating wake of her viral truth-seeking Proof of Demons blog entry, hysteria, internet backlash, and the death of a young woman, Jory has put it all, along with her intense love of the horror genre, behind her. Until a videotape arrives in the mail. Jory fears someone might be filming her, and the Enriquez obsessives, who would do anything for the reclusive director, begin to cross lines in disturbing ways. It seems that Helene is making a new kind of sequel, and Jory is her final girl. As the dangers grow even more unexplained and strange, Jory must search for answers before the proof of the movie's title finds her and takes everything she loves. Yeah, I'm very excited. I can't believe I haven't read this already. So that and Buffalo Hunter Hunter will probably be coming up. I don't know why I've been pushing back Between Two Fires. I think because it feels more like an October story. And it's so sunny and cheery out that I should spend some time in the woods. Maybe that's it. Also, while we were at Reread Used Books, my husband spotted this up on the top shelf where I can usually not see because I'm so little. Revelations, The Coming Apocalypse, as told by Clive Barker, Joe Lansdale, David Morrell, F. Paul Wilson, Poppy Z. Bright, and Christina Faust, Charles Grant. It's weird they say just Charles Grant instead of L. Grant. Whitley Strieber and Elizabeth Massey, Richard Christian Matheson, David S. Shaw, and Craig Spector, Ramsey Campbell, edited by Douglas E. Winter. So very excited for this. I like apocalyptic stories. I like zero-day stories where everything's gone bad. Everything's gone bad all of a sudden, and everything was normal a moment ago. Those are my very favorite stories, so I hope there's a whole lot of that going on in here. I'm not going to read the back because it is just snippets of the books. I kind of don't like reading synopses like that. I would rather like the spark or the drive that made the editor want to have a call out for these sorts of stories, but it's a very thick tome, and it was a very good price at like under $6. And this was sort of a last-minute weird little purchase from Reread Used Books, A Scent of New Mown Hay. It was a horror story, a sci-fi horror, and sort of a sensation for its time. It's about a research scientist who is entrusted to help the Russians, who are the first victims of a terrible thing that is spreading across the globe, and it has a scent of new mown hay, which is kind of insidious when you think about it. I love the smell of new mown hay and the smell of new mown grass. Don't you love that too? It was a very summertime thing to read, and it's short, so I think that I will tackle this right after the Samantha Kolesnik book. I had 2 really neat finds at Black Squirrel Books. I hadn't been to Black Squirrel Books in a little while, and I really need to go there and bring a few books that I'm going to unhaul in and see if they want them. But before that, I did some shopping. Kiss Daddy Goodbye, which is a Thomas Altman book by the same author that wrote Black Christmas. Of course, not the screenplay, the 1980s horror novel, which I had a lot of fun with, and I wanted to read more of his horror. Kiss Daddy Goodbye. This is an old, maybe a first edition one too, and I was really pleased that it had the dust jacket, even if it is in a bit of disrepair. I was really happy to see this, so very glad I'll get to read one of the weirder, oddball 1980s hits. Emily and Ted Albright and their 2 children live in the suburbs of New York City because Ted's job with a chain of resort hotels frequently keeps him away from home. Emily decides to initiate a babysitting co-op that will give her time to pursue a writing career. That's a damn good idea if you like kids. Not so much if you don't. In no time at all, 4 women answer her ad. Adrian is an ex-cover girl who balances both marriage and a career with ease. Carol, a divorcee, has a young child and a new job. Susan, the wife of an English professor, is the mother of 2, and Mary Lou is a young mother involved in a painful divorce. All of them seem to have kids with something in common, and they all share a common need. But 3 of them are hiding something, 2 of them are liars, and 1 is a dangerous psychopath who wants Emily's children. Okay, I had watched the recent Netflix documentary about that girl who faked her pregnancy. Oh my gosh, it is what? Maternal instinct? What a wretched story. I'd heard about the story previously. The Netflix documentary does a really good job of describing exactly how insidious that is. So I think that this will be in par with that. I'll let you know after I read it. So I'm very excited to get to the Thomas Altman Kiss Daddy Goodbye. And I'll end all of that off with Dennis Wheatley's The Satanist. It doesn't have a dust jacket, but you know what? I'm fine with that because it's got this just really interesting, impressive, cloudy night sky with a moon. What more do you need? This follows Dennis Wheatley's To the Devil, a Daughter, and I swear I read that as a like a paperback or something when I was a teen, but I'm not really sure. So I'm going to have to find that as well. And hopefully in a first edition, old ass version. It wasn't expensive because it does have some damage, it does have some writing. Whoever bought it has the initial CRA and bought it in October 1960, so it was a first edition. And yeah, other than that, it's just a old mildewy old copy of it, and I'm really excited to get to this. Someone who had participated in the Ghost Club alongside people like Algernon Blackwood, who investigated actual paranormal happenings, and he wrote a heck ton of books. Looking at his photo, he died in the 70s. He looked like a Sir Dennis Wheatley, but not quite, just Dennis Wheatley. But he was affiliated with a lot of Sirs, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, through things like the Ghost Club. So yeah, very interested to read this Black Mass inspired occult quasi horror of the day. So a really nice big stack. And one thing I really like is that these are all hardcovers. There was only like a few paperbacks to be had, mostly things that I had picked up through Amazon. But these were all nice, used, and all under $5 each, I'm pretty sure, except maybe The Satanist was $6.60. Go figure. But yeah, a really nice little book haul to start my summer off and to hopefully hold me off until October. So that's the plan. We'll see if I can accomplish that. If I go to the library book sale and pick up a couple things, whatever. But this should see me through summer just fine, along with the Backwards bookshelf. So yes, have you read any of these amazing little books? A Scent of New Mown Hay is one that I'm quite interested in hearing about. So if you've read them, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and have an ooky spooky day. thank God for these super diva little tiny fans. I mean, if this was sponsored, I'd be like, little tiny fans. Holy shit, I love them.